Amethyst first appeared in Minecraft 1.17 as part of the Caves and Cliffs update, alongside Copper in all its oxidizing glory and 3 new adorable mobs, axolotls, goats, and glow squids. This was also the update that changed world height, opening up entirely new possibilities for building and exploration. It was one of the moments in Minecraft history where creativity got a serious upgrade in recent days. Welcome back to day 4 of my 30 days 30 blocks challenge, my personal creative project where I'm building something new every single day for a month. The twist is that the block I focus on each day is chosen completely at random, which keeps me on my toes. No two builds end up looking or feeling the same, and it's a fantastic way to push my creativity, break out of familiar patterns, and discover combinations or styles I wouldn't normally try. Today's block, Amethyst, instantly sparked a whimsical idea. There's something inherently magical about its shimmering purple tones, so I decided to lean fully into a chaotic fantasy house design. I imagined it belonging to a wizard, fairy, or another magical being, drawing the power directly from the crystals embedded into their home. In my head, this building had soaring towers with sweeping roofs and a complete disregard for the laws of physics, the kind of architecture that makes you wonder how it's still standing. As with any build, I started by planning the overall palette and structure. For a design this whimsical, I wanted the upper portions to feel wild and fantastical, but I knew the base needed to be more grounded to support the chaos visually. I settled on stone for the foundation, keeping it in line with the cottagecore aesthetic. Sturdy, simple, and a little rustic. Moving upwards, I introduced a warm mid-tone using jungle wood for the next level, adding minimal texture to subtly break up the vertical lines of the logs without distracting from the more elaborate details that would come later. To make the amethyst roof stand out without overwhelming the rest of the build, I framed it with a deep contrasting trim, something dark enough to give the purple tones more depth but not so bold that it stole focus. A sloping shape helped lead the eye upwards, pulling attention towards the more whimsical elements that would be stacked above. It also set the tone for the rest of the architecture, a little bit unpredictable and chaotic in its details, but still cohesive enough to make sense and not dominate the space. With that in place, it was time to turn my attention to the centerpiece, the main tower. This was going to be the crown jewel of the entire build, the structure your eye is naturally drawn to from any angle. To make it stand out, I pulled the lightest colour from the main building, the quartz used in the upper roof section, and carried it upwards into a tall, elegant spire. The clean white contrasted beautifully with the darker base layers, making the tower feel like it was growing above the rest of the structure. At first, it was just a single straight tower. While it looked fine, it didn't feel commanding like I envisioned. The composition lacked a sense of grandeur that I wanted, so I decided to introduce a second tower, slightly shorter and warmer in tone to break up the symmetry and add more character to the build. The real magic happened where the two towers met. I didn't want the connection to be purely functional or simplistic. I wanted it to feel like it was a part of the story. So I designed a sweeping bridge between them, a curved structure that arced gracefully through the air. By the time all the shaping and detail was done, it resembled a crescent moon suspended between the towers, an unintentional but welcome design choice that added a hint of mystery and fantasy to the whole build. When it came to detailing the main tower, I went for a more minimalist approach. At the time, I thought keeping it simple would allow the shape and height to speak for themselves, but looking back at it now, I think I might have gone a little too understated. To tie it in with a secondary tower, I added horizontal bands in a lighter wood tone, which helped bridge the colour gap and gave it a bit more visual rhythm to the smaller build. The very top section was designed to echo elements from the main structure below, creating a sense of cohesion across the entire build. That said, hindsight is a dangerous thing for a builder. The more I revisit this tower in my mind, the more I see the opportunities that I missed. The roof could have been taller and sharper, something that would have given more presence against the skyline, and the structure itself could have benefited from a bit more variation. The subtle changes in depth, extra trim work, maybe even a few playful asymmetrical details to inject more of that original whimsical energy that inspired this build in the first place. It's one of those moments that reminds me that every project is, at its core, a learning experience. No matter how much planning you do or how well something comes together in the end, there's always that voice in the back of your mind pointing out ways it could be better. And honestly, I think it's a good thing. Coming from a perfectionist, it means you're still growing, finding new ways to push your skills. For the roof, I wanted something that was instantly recognizable, yet still fit with the chaotic energy of the concept. A wizard's hat shape felt perfect, wide brim at the base before tapering into a dramatic, curling point that suggested movement even when it was standing still. This shape also broke up the otherwise vertical silhouette of the build, drawing the eye upwards in a more playful, unpredictable way, dragging it across the build. I leaned into sharp angles and swooping curves, letting the structure feel almost alive, like it was shifting subtly when you weren't looking. Even when a build turns out well overall, there's always room to take it a step further, to try a bolder shape, add that extra layer of texture, or experiment with details I've never used before. That's a part of why I'm enjoying this 30-day challenge so much. The random blocks makes me commit to ideas quickly, putting down different materials that I would have never tried and refine my process. Every day feels like a small step forward in ways that I never could have imagined. Even if I can already see what I want to change in hindsight, it allows me to build the next building even better than before. I intentionally kept the secondary base structure fairly simplistic, both in shape and texture, so that the two towers could stand out as the undeniable focus points of this build. I didn't want competing elements pulling the eye in too many different directions, so instead the base serves as a quiet foundation, letting more elaborate features shine. When it came time to add the amethyst roof, I quickly realized something I hadn't anticipated during the planning stage of the large crystal. While beautiful, it felt a little too similar to the surrounding tones once the roofline was added. Rather than allowing the towers to blend into the background, I wanted them to pop. I wanted this magical element to stand out. So I swapped the original block for a more contrasting colour in the orange glass, one that allowed the shape and silhouette of the floating crystal to stand out more boldly against the roofline. In the end, I see this build as a successful step into a fantasy style I've been eager to explore. There are details that I'd refine if I revisited it, sharper roofs here, a touch more texture there, a few more details here, but the spirit of the piece is exactly what I had hoped for. It radiates that sense of magic and whimsy that I was chasing from the very beginning, like it belongs in a storybook world. Once the final touches of greenery were added, the scene came to life in a way that made me smile. Thank you for watching.